D&D is great, but when things get dark, 5e can't hold a torch to these 5 tabletop role-playing games. Hey there, adventurers. My name is Judd, and this is Short Rest Studios, where we believe fun builds community. And sometimes fun is better when it's a little scary, when the lines between good and evil are a little more fuzzy, and when the threats are more dire. And while D&D is a pretty flexible system, it does not do dark and gritty fantasy settings well. Tons of games do. Shadowdark, Morkborg, Zweihander, Blades in the Dark, and more. And I've talked about many of them before, but today, especially with rumblings of a possible revival of the Dark Sun D&D setting, I think it's a great time to count down 5 games you've never seen on Short Rest Studios that do dark fantasy way better than 5e. And of course, I'll drop links to them all in the description and the pinned comment. Number 5 on our dark fantasy countdown is The Witcher RPG. If you've read the books, played the video games, or watched the Netflix series, you know what kind of morally gray setting you're dealing with in The Witcher RPG. The game is set between the events of the 2 most recent video games, The Witcher 2 and 3. It's a world at war, rife with political and military conflict, racism, and, of course, monsters. Happy endings are rare, and your actions have often swift and brutal consequences. You've got 9 classes, including bards, craftsmen, men-at-arms, and yes, witchers, an absolutely vicious bestiary, and a variety of spells and invocations. Monster hunts are the game's bread and butter, but these aren't simple hit them till they're dead encounters. If you try that, you're likely to wind up seriously injured or dead. The mechanics of the game lean into the investigation, looking for clues, figuring out what you're even up against and what you need to defeat it. And sometimes you find that the monsters aren't the monsters. When it comes to combat, it's absolutely brutal and tactical. You roll a d10 with modifiers for your basic skill checks, which of course also counts for attacks and such. But there's a pretty incredible depth of actions to choose from. Wrestling, special attacks, there's even a system for parrying. Now, I don't really know why, but something in my DNA just gives me an aversion to licensed IP and TTRPGs and board games. Usually it's because they suck, I think. But in this case, we've got a seriously fun game that drops you into the brutal, morally fraught world of Geralt of Rivia. Plus, you can download a free quick start PDF. 4th on our list of TTRPGs that beat D&D for dark fantasy, Cthulhu Dark Ages. Now, technically, this is a campaign setting for Chaosium's Call of Cthulhu RPG, but honestly, I love Call of Cthulhu so much, and putting that brand of Lovecraftian horror into a dark medieval setting is absolute genius. The world is changing. Empires have collapsed. Knowledge is fading, preserved by monks manually reproducing manuscripts and troubadours passing down old tales. It's a time of warlords and peasants and Viking raiders, and it's a time when the unspeakable horrors of the Cthulhu mythos lurk just beneath the surface. You investigate, but your research is done in mead halls and around campfires rather than libraries and halls of records. Cthulhu Dark Ages uses 7th edition Call of Cthulhu rules. It's a skill-based D100 system. Combat is deadly and an absolute last resort. Your goal is to hopefully uncover and stop the risen dead or eldritch horrors without dying or losing your mind. One of the things Call of Cthulhu is known for is its sanity mechanic, and Dark Ages includes an optional sanity mechanic that's based on a medieval mindset. There are rules for the oral tradition of storytelling, since books and, of course, literacy are rare among the populace. You've got Dark Ages-inspired spells and folk magic, a bestiary, a fully developed setting, NPCs, and plot hooks. If, like me, you love the cosmic horror of H.P. Lovecraft and dark medieval fantasy, Cthulhu Dark Ages is worth checking out. Adventurers, before we hit number 3, how does a desert punk campaign setting inspired by the post-apocalyptic mayhem of Mad Max and the mysticism and deep lore of Dune sound? Freaking amazing, right? Well, it's here. The Scorched Basin, the latest system-agnostic campaign setting from Homie and the Dude, the makers of The Wandering Tavern, is now on Kickstarter. The Scorched Basin is packed with multiple desert terrains, 5 competing factions, unique creatures and player options, a one-of-a-kind magic system. You'll get an alchemy system, languages, incredible history and lore, battle maps for 5 key locations, including 2 cities, printable 3D models, original artwork, 7 different art styles from one artist. There is no AI in the Scorched Basin Adventurers. Pre-built land vehicles and rules for driving them, a custom soundtrack, voiceovers, including some by yours truly. More than 100 TTRPG content creators collaborated on the Scorched Basin, and the amount of content included is incredible. Click the link in the description or the pinned comment to support this channel and back the Scorched Basin from Homie and the Dude. Coming in at number 3, Hyperborea. Hyperborea is a realm lit by a dying sun. It's bordered by a mystical north wind, and its seas spill over the rim of the world. It exists in a perpetual state of decay and conflict with humans, monsters, and alien beings. If you're a fan of classic pulp fantasy, horror, and sci-fi, Hyperborea captures the feel of Robert E. Howard, H.P. Lovecraft, and Clark Ashton Smith in a way I don't think any other tabletop role-playing game does, from the setting to the artwork to the mechanics. Hyperborea was originally built on the bones of 1st edition Advanced Dungeons & Dragons. It's got the classic 6 attributes, 22 classes and subclasses, 9 alignments, loads of spells. There are tons of options, but it's all presented in such a way that it's never overwhelming. Hyperborea is based on AD&D, yes, but its rules are much more cohesive. Much as I love AD&D, you know what I mean. Combat, though, still deadly. The rules are great, especially if you're an OSR fan, but Hyperborea's crazy setting is where it really shines. It's undeniably and unapologetically pulpy, and it's designed with just enough detail to sink your teeth into, but not so much that it leaves you no creative freedom as a game master. In fact, it's a setting you just might be able to drop into any TTRPG campaign. Hyperborea is a nearly perfect marriage of old school rules and pulp fiction. If you're a Conan or Cthulhu fan, this could be the game you've been dreaming of. The runner-up in our dark fantasy TTRPG countdown, Symbaroum. The Ambrians, a civilization forced to flee its ancestral home, has settled on the borders of the vast forest of Davakar, rich with natural resources and mythical treasures. But within that forest are the ruins of the empire of Symbaroum, full of dangerous monsters and insidious corruption, and an ancient evil is beginning to stir. Symbaroum is a D20 roll-under system like Dragonbane, another fantastic game from Free League Publishing. It's easy to learn, fast-moving, and absolutely punishing. And if you want a little more complexity, it's got tons of optional rules. One of the things that really stands out about Symbaroum is its flexibility. It works for action or intrigue, serious or fun adventures, one-shots, or long campaigns. Character creation is easy. There are no classes. You can pick and choose races, archetypes, and abilities as you see fit. Combat is fast and furious. Monsters are vicious. The darkness is ever present. If the setting of Symbaroum sounds cool, but you don't want to leave 5e behind, there is actually a 5e setting book called Ruins of Symbaroum, designed specifically for use with the D&D 5e rule set. I've actually heard some complaints about Free League games showing up a lot, not necessarily on my lists, but on lists like this. But the fact of the matter is, I've looked at a lot of Free League's games, and they're all brilliant. The artwork is invariably gorgeous, the books are beautiful, the rules are cohesive and streamlined. They make a lot of games, a lot of really good games, and Symbaroum is one of the best. Hey, if I don't name your favorite dark fantasy TTRPG today, drop it in the comments. Finally, adventurers, the #1 game that does dark fantasy better than D&D, Shadow of the Demon Lord. The world of Earth, spelled with a U, is broken by war, plague, and ancient horrors. Your PCs are embattled survivors. They might be heroes, criminals, or madmen who must fight against what seems to be the world's inevitable end. They can confront hordes of demons from the void or give in to the titular shadow and watch the world burn. Starting characters probably won't survive, but if they do, Let's hope they'll be the heroes that can avert or at least delay the apocalypse. Launched in 2015 by Robert Schwab, who among his extensive TTRPG design experience worked on D&D 4e and served as one of the lead designers on 5e, Shadow of the Demon Lord has a ton going for it. The entire rule set is in one less than 300-page book, plus there are a boatload of great supplements. Characters begin at level 0 and progress to level 10, if they survive. They never really reach the heights of power that D&D PCs do, but by all reports, this progression makes lower and higher level play completely different experiences. With no standard initiative roll and 3-phase combat, it's a fast, simple system. You roll a d20 to attack and a number of d6s for damage depending on your weapon. Like The Witcher, those are the only dice this game uses. The constant threat of death combined with its highly tactical yet low crunch combat are what put Shadow of the Demon Lord in the #1 spot. There you go, adventurers, 5 tabletop role-playing games that do dark fantasy better than Dungeons & Dragons. I'd love to know your opinion. Am I crazy? Are there games you love that I missed? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to check out the Scorched Basin Kickstarter, link is in the description. And of course, like, subscribe, and smack that notification bell to keep up with this channel. Consider supporting my continued creation of TTRPG content for you by joining the Adventurers Guild at patreon.com/shortreststudios or by hitting the join button that's right under this video. D&D is fun, but there are some great fantasy role-playing games with way cooler mechanics. Check them out in this video, and I'll see you next time on Short Rest Studios.